We are live. Welcome to my video. These are going to be my thoughts on The Gifted Season 2, Episode 8. This episode is called The dreaM. Another episode I love. Spoilers for everything live action X-Men leading up to and including this episode. Let's see, the episode is rated something like TV 12 plus or so, and so will this video be. Let's dive right in. So, yeah, let's see, the flashback, you know, appreciate seeing Lorna, you know, yeah, Lorna, when she was like a teenager or something, we already knew that she struggled, but seeing some of it, yeah. And, you know, we have this thing about, yeah, she's like, you know, she's apparently practicing for an upcoming career as a sign maker, throwing nails into the tree. I quite appreciate that in these scenes she has a lot of like metal as part of her clothes, like these what are they called, like clothing pins, whatever, you know, all over the jean vest thing she's got, you know, and yeah, you kind of get the feeling she didn't just attach those just like randomly. She used her powers to attach them. It's part of how she expresses herself, her identity. And I really appreciate that by the end of the episode she has realized, you know, her aunt was just doing the best she could. You know, I think probably most of us, I'm certainly am counting myself among, you know, when we're kids and teenagers, we say and do things that hurt the people that take care of us, our family. And yeah, I really appreciate this pointing out, you know, yeah, just she didn't realize, you know, she thought that her aunt was keeping her away, you know, was it from her father instead of for her father. And, you know, yeah, it must suck growing up. You know, what did she say, in a podunk town with 3 feed stores and no high-speed internet, which is a terrible feed store to high-speed internet ratio. Worst thing, despite 3 feed stores, the town is completely devoid of animals. But there's this ancient prophecy that says, oh, someday dozens will materialize out of thin air. They just want to be super prepared. And let's see, yeah, also some really, let's see, I don't know if we want to call it one flashback that they keep cutting back to, but there's the bit with, you know, what was it, 7 months ago of Marcos and Lorna, you know, before she was extremely pregnant, and, you know, before she gave birth, obviously, and yeah, you know, talking about the baby, talking about her father and such, you know, and I have an idea of who her father is. I suppose I don't know if I want to give it, because they don't come right out and say it in the episode, so I suspect, yeah, for now I think I'm not gonna say. I don't know if he was the one who rubbed Vaseline all over the lens for that flashback. Seriously though, it worked really well. You know, this very like romantic vibe, and they are really cute and sweet together. It's the same thing for Lauren and the guy who draws blood. You know, the thing with the frisbee was just, yeah, really sweet. And it's so nice to see her smile like that after all she's been through, you know. No, I'm not saying, you know, oh, women should smile more. I'm saying it's nice when, you know, someone is able to do something for a woman that makes her actually organically smile, rather than just saying she has to. Yeah, the bar flashback, you know, like, yeah, dude, he's not exactly being super nice and polite to Lorna. So, yeah, she smashes up the car. And let's see. I thought they did a good job with this whole thing of, Reed, yeah, what was it, the drug that he used to get was like a dam, and we need something else, something that, and there's that comparison of giving diabetes, don't do that, giving insulin to someone who has diabetes. I don't know why I'm pronouncing it the way that Wilford Brimley did. Anyway, yes, and that little bit where we gotta draw some more blood. We could actually, this is gonna change the world. We could suppress all mutant genes. Why would we want to do that? And the thing, her brother founded the purifiers. It's like, oh no. And then he says she hated him for hating mutants, which is a lot of hate. It's very circular, and yeah, he points out, it's a choice. We're not going to do this to anyone who really who does want to live like that, which I don't know if that's supposed to be like, I mean, if we're going with the trans metaphor, there are some people who detransition. It's not a particularly high percentage, but obviously those people should be treated with empathy and respect. And honestly, most of the trans YouTubers I follow do exactly that. They acknowledge that they exist, and they don't consider them like enemies. Usually when I hear someone say, oh, detransitioners are a huge threat to other trans people, usually that's like transphobes trying to frame it like that. Now, I think that might just about cover. Yeah, it was really nice to see, she is able to like suppress mutant, the X gene, but she doesn't do it just for anyone. There's that one woman who has Downs and the mutant gene, and her power is not suppressed. She got a job here. I think that pretty much covers. Oh right, I think in the video on the episode before this one, I think I said I thought Madeline was Reed's mother, but I guess I was remembering that wrong, because we did meet his mother in season 1, but no, this was someone who worked with his father. Because this episode, certainly, there's no, even if they like recast, no, that wait, like the first time she lays eyes on him, she's like, "Are you Reed?" So yeah, he hasn't changed his appearance that much in 6 months. Anyway, let's see, what was the other thing? Right, I quite appreciate the tension. Like we do think, oh no, he's gonna accidentally burn through the table and be like arrested or something, but then she walks down the stairs. And it is also like, I don't know why they didn't think of a plan on the way there. Like, just go up and say, I'd like to speak with the director. It's personal. I mean, yeah, the guy takes it pretty well. You're gonna have to give me more than that. That's not. Yeah, I can't let in just anyone who wants to see her. That's not gonna. Yeah. I appreciate that apparently this like school campus, like it must be like for sure accepting of nerds, or that guy would not be wearing a shirt that says "Don't trust atoms, they make up everything." Like, I want that shirt. Anyway, yeah. Right, we have another mention of Lorna's mysterious father making a call to get her out of some, she was arrested, she gets let out. It's not the substitute teacher making the call. In an earlier episode, we were told she only got out of Linwood because of the call from her father. And we have an actual comic booky suit. They've been avoiding those for most of the show so far, which, I mean, I don't know that it would work super well with the tone, but yeah, by the end, the headpiece, I guess we'll call it, the crown, I don't know, that Lorna makes. And I appreciate the accuracy. It is true that if you take a piece of red metal and use mutant powers to warp it, it does turn green. And let's see. I think that brings us very nicely into the... I can't believe I'm blanking on the name. Right, yeah. Very sad to see the conflict between Clarice and John. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, they're going in different directions. They're facing the same problem, but he thinks she's an extremist. She thinks he's, naive. And, the dog jumps up on the bed for some petting, and it's gonna try to convince her to stop destroying her favorite, the dog's favorite toy. And yeah, let's see. Right, the whole thing with the baby Lorna, the Dawn being, where do we place her, because she might not be safe in the inner circle, which, yeah, right now Rebecca's out there, and I mean, if Sentinel Service gets a hold of her and she talks, they're gonna know everything. The location of the base, yeah, she can positively ID at least the major members of the inner circle, which is, I think, also why Riva is so desperate to get her. And yeah, Fade, creepy as always. And I do also appreciate, like, it would feel pretty ridiculous if she just kept managing to be ahead of them. There's just no way that she would never get caught. Let's see. I think... right, yeah, I really appreciate that she lets Marcos say goodbye to Dawn, which, I really appreciate media that helps fight back against this notion that women are selfish and don't care about their male partners. It's just not true. That, like, women have limits to how much they'll put up with, but when you hear some of these misogynists, like really big name misogynists, talk about, the way they were treating their female partner before she had enough, yeah, it's like, of course she didn't want to put up with that forever. Are you hearing yourself? Like, that's ridiculous. Of course she's eventually going to fight back against that, but unfortunately a lot of younger misogynists hear that and think, oh, all women will eventually just give up on their male partner, all non-sapphic women. And it's just not true. There's quite a few cases where a woman is in a loving relationship with one person for decades and decades. Now, yeah, I really appreciate the discussion that they had. And yeah, Marco's pointing out, you set the world on fire, and now you're worried about our baby possibly being burnt, Yeah, I really appreciate Esme, let's see, she points to she says there's a place in Switzerland, which, I feel like might be a reference to, like, this notion that Switzerland was neutral during World War II, which is kind of silly. Like, you can't really be neutral when it comes to Nazis. Like, you couldn't during Nazi Germany, and you can't today. You're passively accepting what they're doing, or you're resisting them, or you're one of them. Yeah. Let's see. I think the... yes. So yeah, the start of the episode, yeah, jumping around a lot. We see, the discussion in the car after the heist. And yeah, they make some really good points. And Rebecca, yeah, she does still feel like she was just being treated as a tool, like, a crowbar to get into the vault. So she, reverses the door, which I think is a clever, because she knows Lorna can control metal. If Rebecca starts to open the door, Lorna might be able to, slam the door shut in time, maybe lock it. I don't actually know if the lock parts of a car door have metal parts, but I wouldn't rule that out, certainly. And yeah, let's see, and yeah, she spends most of the rest of the episode on the run. And yeah, they did say in an earlier episode it's going to be difficult for her to readjust to being on the outside of the institution, and that's what we're seeing. She killed 37 people, and now she just bolts out of there. And let's see, what was the other thing? Yeah, and for the rest of the episode, like, she's using her powers various places, and John is able to follow the trace. And I do appreciate, yeah, once he and, well, not so much he, once Clarice, hides her mutant, traits with the I can't remember on the eye, the contact lenses. That's it. The word eye is part of the, or wow. Now that I think about it, it's been so long since I used the Danish word either. I guess maybe sometimes we do just call them contact lenses. Anyway, yeah. There's clearly anti-mutant protesters run around, and yeah, the let's see, they might spot them, but they might just think, oh, they're out to hurt mutants as well. It's one of those things with, like, I mean, mutants wouldn't be running around just like that during this really heated time, so you kind of assume they must be. And right, that was also, yeah, it led to these really violent actions by anti-mutant protesters. And there was that thing about, they were told to, was it stand by or something like that, so yeah, similar to, I think it was a reference to, Trump said stand by something, he was asked, would you tell them to stand down? And he said stand by instead. He said something else as well, but he definitely didn't say, he didn't tell them to actually stop. And let's see, yeah, they set fire to a foster home, and they're still looking for survivors. And yeah, sometimes that is something extremists do when they're lied to, when people, when hatred is spread, so yeah, I really appreciate the honesty in depicting that. It's absolutely horrifying. And yeah, just recently, I want to say it was in Britain, there some people set fire to a place that, some immigrants live in there, and it's one of those things, like, even if you think that every immigrant in there deserves to die, which is an incredibly twisted view, but sadly one that many of them hold, what about people who aren't even immigrants, who are, like, close enough to be hurt, even die from that, Now, let's see, I think, yeah, I thought they did a good job, with the way that John and Clarice gradually reach Rebecca, and as when they get really close, there's, Rebecca uses her power, not to hurt them, but I feel like she's trying to intimidate them. And she does, they get a lead. Was it regimen, which is something to go off of or on. And, Clarice says there's something wrong here. There was power use, and they move one of the garbage bags and spot this like really horrifying looking corpse. Like, I feel like even David Cronenberg would be like, that's not bad. Like there's a hand where a foot is supposed to be, and vice versa, and like the face is all messed up. It looked like something out of 1982's The Thing or something. And I think that might just about be it. Let's see. Right, yeah. The fact that Rebecca did end up killing, all these people there. Yeah. It is, sadly, there are a number of cases throughout history where a movement that, was taking some steps in direction, some extremists might try to infiltrate, and thankfully sometimes that person was found and kicked out of the movement in time. But yeah, some movements were hurt by the what's the word, by the actions of a few extremists that more or less might just want like access. They'll go with the group, and when the group goes to a protest in public, then the extremist is going to do something violent. So, IMDb trivia notes that this is the first episode since Exploited not to feature Sophie Frost and Phoebe Frost, along with Esme Frost. Yeah, that was a while back. That was season 1. And the episode introduces Dr. Madeline Reisman, that's not how I pronounce it, played by Kate Burton. And yeah, she was the former assistant of Otter Strucker, who was played by Raymond J. Barry in earlier episodes. Kate Burton and Raymond J. Barry both were guest stars on an episode of The Closer, where they played daughter and father. Right, and this, so let's see. Yeah, in this series, Morlocks are the mutants who live in the tunnels beneath the city. The term Morlocks originated in H.G. Wells' 1895 novel, The Time Machine. In a post-apocalyptic world, the Morlocks live underground while the LOI, I think is how to pronounce it, live on the surface. I did watch the Guy Pearce movie adaptation, but that was like 15 years ago or something, so I do not remember how they pronounce. I think it's LOI. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see where they go. We are halfway through the season now, so yeah. I really feel like they're doing a great job setting up, because it is this thing of like, it's too early in the season for the heist to go off without a hitch. But what exactly is going to go wrong, that is not, we don't know for sure yet. And yeah, the powder keg that Rebecca has been since we first saw her on the show explodes. And, now there's, that's going to cause a problem. And let's see. Right, and obviously I do not approve of violence against women. I do appreciate that, Fade, he has to stop her from using her powers, and they don't have the mutant suppressing drug. So that's why he does, that's why he approaches Rebecca the way that he does. So, yeah. I'm gonna try to do another episode soon. So weird to think that I'm almost done with the show. Really gonna miss it, but I'm also I'm glad that they did get to air the entirety of the 2 seasons that they did make. You know, this is not one of those cases where some episodes just were never aired and just, yeah. But yeah, hope to catch you in the next one.